That's not very nice. All right. So, ladies, gentlemen, let's have a look. Okay, so this is the prompt that we are going with. She was getting good at holding him, not so scared. The way they wrapped him, it was like holding a big parcel of hot chips. Jason's face peered out of the cotton blankets, a tiny old man exhausted after a long and arduous journey. So that's from $5 Family. So what we're going to do is work out, first off, where that quote sits in the story. That's really important when you first get your quote. Let's work out, okay, where is it in the story? What comes before it? What comes after it? So that I kind of know, you know, the basis of that quote. Then what I want to do is work out what kind of themes and ideas are in the quote that I can kind of extrapolate, and then we're going to come up with some ideas of things to write, and then maybe you can write them over the holidays. So, Adam, can I borrow your book? Great, thank you. So, page 96, whoop, too far, 93, 97, okay, so it's after, obviously it's going to be after Jason is born. Jason's been born. Okay, so it's where Des has come in. So this before it says, when Des had taken a look at his son that first afternoon, he'd seemed perplexed. The same startled, faintly incredulous look she'd seen on his face when she'd turned and glimpsed him during the labour. You know, where she like looks at him during the labour and he's just like, yeah. Yep. About as useful as tits on a ball, that guy. And she offers for him to hold him and says, do you want to hold him? Michelle had said, trying to manoeuvre herself up in bed a little bit. She was getting good at holding him, not so scared. The way they wrapped him, it was like holding a big parcel of hot chips. Jason's face peered out of the cotton blankets, a tiny old man, exhausted after a long and arduous journey. Nah, Des had said, that's all right. Nah. He'd wiped his hands nervously down his jeans, a gesture that had almost made her feel sorry for him again. How about I get a disposable camera? It was the closest he'd come to apologising for taking hers down to cash converters. No, she'd said, stroking Jason's fingers. I'll sort something out. Deliberately not looking at Des, already wanting him to go. All right, so that kind of tells us what's around it. So Des refuses to hold the baby, and he looks uncomfortable, you know, like he feels uncomfortable in this idea of being a dad. You know, that's why he doesn't want to do it, you know, like the wiping of the hands and stuff, that he's trying to kind of like separate himself from it. So Des refuses to hold the baby, does not feel comfortable in the idea of fatherhood. Yeah. And I guess it also shows like his immaturity too. Like he's too immature, isn't he? All right. And what about Michelle in this bit? She's getting good at holding him, not so scared. She's starting to get comfortable doing this. That she's starting to... Hi. This is nice. I know, it's cute, isn't it? She's starting to get comfortable in this role of mother. That, you know, she's getting good at holding him. She's starting to feel more confident in her abilities to take care of Jason. Michelle, by contrast, and like the reason we kind of think that she's getting so good at it is because Des isn't getting good at it. And so Kennedy is setting up a contrast for us and going, you know, look at Des and how he's dealing with it, and look at Michelle and how she's dealing with it. And we have that contrast which makes her progress so much bigger because of his lack of progress. Is becoming comfortable, and I would even go confident, in her role as mother. It was like holding a parcel of hot chips. I love that description. Just like a big parcel of hot chips. And that's exactly how I hold my hot chips too. I'm just like, I'll get you home and eat you. Don't worry. Don't go soggy. You're okay. Yeah. That's what happens. That's Friday night. Yeah. Hot chips.
That's nice.
Yeah. Oh, Wednesday night's hot chip night. Oh. So that's a good Wednesday night. Yeah. Actually, I might need to. Yeah. Hot chips. Yeah. A bit of chicken salt. Ooh. Delish. Anyway. You've sold it. It was such a hard sell, but you've done it. A tiny old man exhausted after a long and arduous journey. I could take something out of that as well, couldn't I? Like about Jason. I don't know if I want to. Yeah, it's talking about Jason's face. That have you ever seen like a newborn? A newborn? Where they have like these little old man faces? Like they're kind of wrinkly and like squinty. They're kind of like ugly cute. I don't know.
It's like, like the wrinkled cats.
Yeah, and they're always holding their hands like this.
Yeah.
Like throwing gang signs. Like they're always like, I don't know. My friends, yeah, they're very fresh and like, but yeah.
You could do long and arduous journey for the pregnancy of
Yeah.
Wade. Retreats her.
Yeah.
8 months.
Of dealing with him. What an arduous journey.
He's embarrassed.
Yeah, he is. He really is. Well, it's not even that he's horrible. I feel like horrible is too far because he's not like he doesn't beat her or anything, but he's just so immature. He's just he's just so immature. Yeah. He's just so immature. Like he's a child. She's a woman, he's a child. And why is she a woman? Because she's gone through this experience of being a mother. Do you know what I mean? You know how like there's that bit where she's just given birth to Jason and she looks over to actually check me the book. She looks over at him and he's like got this like WTF face on. Like he's totally kind of baffled by the whole thing and just like stunned. There it is. I love it. Where is it? Oh, I've just missed it. Here we go. Here. As he sprawled in the chair in the corner, so freaked out he couldn't even meet her eye. Useless, she'd thought, feeling a startling surge of impatient, adrenaline-fueled scorn. She was suddenly way beyond him now. She couldn't believe she'd ever needed him for anything. Like, this experience of having the baby has kind of given her a sense of maturity and responsibility that has shot her way beyond Des. Like, beforehand, she felt like she needed Des, that she loved Des, that, blah, blah. But now she's like, I'm so beyond you. Like, you're a child. Michelle has come to the realization that she is worth far more than what Des has to offer. Yeah?
He's more worried about himself than Michelle or even the child.
Yeah, which is an immature thing, isn't it? Like it's like with the bikie jacket. He buys Jason the bikie jacket, and they don't even have a change table. And it's like, and like he says, a little bike, he's going to be like a little bikie just like me kind of thing. And she's like, yeah. And then like when they go to have the photo, she takes the jacket off him because she doesn't want him to grow up just like him. She takes it off Jason.
He's kind of ashamed of her.
She's ashamed of him.
Yeah, like in the middle of calls, like he has a go at her.
Yeah. And again, that's an immaturity thing, isn't it? Like, a real dad would be like, yeah, you feed that baby. Like, that baby is crying, you feed that baby. That's that's what you've got to do. Whereas he is like, don't get your boobs out in Coles. And it's like, you're not getting your boobs out. She's not doing a nudie run. Like, she's breastfeeding. That's not getting your boobs out. It's a completely different thing. And that's that maturity thing. Okay. So, we've got some ideas here. So we've got, this is what the text is about. Oh, shit. Ooh, shouldn't say that. On camera. Oops. My bad. Alright. I'll just have to plug this in. So we've got the ideas. So what kind of, we've got the context and what it's about. Now we've got to work out what kind of ideas are being explored in this story. So what kind of ideas do you think are being explored in this story? Now that we've kind of talked about the quote and where it comes from. What do you think? What ideas does it explore? Well, maturity. You know, like coming of age, being, growing up, being mature. Yeah? Oh, it's Sam. Hi, Sam. How you doing? What are you up to?
Not much. I'm dropping off Christmas presents for teachers.
Dropping off Christmas presents? I don't know if you know this, but it's like April now.
Yeah.
Oh, is this for me? Oh, no. Hang on, I'll pause this. You're currently being filmed. Okay. So what do you think of the ideas? What ideas are being kind of offered? Resilience, definitely. Resilience. Definitely. Michelle gets through the long and arduous journey of labour and Des.
The idea of relationship, like forming a new relationship with the child.
Yeah, relationships. Yeah, yeah, definitely. The falling apart of one and the formation of another. Yeah. And the birth, ironically, of another. Yeah. And it's kind of funny as well, like with with Des, it actually, there's one bit where she talks about how she feels like she's a mum to him. Where she's talking to the parents, and she says, it's on page 108, she says, and they're talking about how he got community service because of an assault charge. And it says, she smiled back at them, she remembers, felt herself as an indulgent, forgiving and tolerant as his mother, like it was a club that women belonged to. Staring at Des now, Michelle thinks that's exactly what he looks like, a naughty boy. She pauses to make him look at her, refusing to smile, where she refuses to be his mother anymore because she's actually a mother. And she's like, all my mothering energy needs to go on my child and not you, because you're not a child. Yeah.
Financial hardship.
Yes.
Baby guys are just like his mum's like, even says like, oh little Des, he's off working. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah. Oh, it's not like he's been charged with assault.
Yeah.
His job's not doing community service, else and not go to jail.
Yeah, and it's like, ugh. Therefore, it doesn't have time to mother Des. Okay. So motherhood is obviously another one. And that's a really big, it's a really powerful theme in this text. A lot of these stories are about motherhood and what it means to be a mother, and like what a mother is willing to do for her child. And that for her, it's stepping away from Des. That the best thing she can do is to get rid of Des and kick him out of her life and their lives. You know, like 72 Derwents. You know, that, you know, eventually when she realises what's going on, you know, what Tyler's mother does for her children.
In Ashes
Mm.
and the relationship there and what someone to say. Stay as well.
Yeah.
The older mothers and where it goes and like they do think that they're acting in this interest of their child.
Yeah, yeah. Or even Tender, you know, Tender with the lump, where she's like, she stays up all night to do the project because she wants him to feel a sense of success. You know, even though she's at a point where really she needs someone to take care of her, that she's willing to kind of sacrifice that for her son. Okay, so we've got some pretty good ideas so far. Now, there's kind of two choices at this point. You could either choose to write inside one of the stories, like use the characters in one of the stories to write something else, or you could choose to create something completely new. Do you want to do a bit of an example of both? The new one? Okay, well, let's talk new. It is, it can be a little bit daunting, but it's not, but it is. Okay, so we could choose any of those ideas to focus on, or we could choose a number of them. So we might kind of go, I want to talk about resilience and motherhood, or I want to talk about motherhood and relationships, or, you know, so like you'd pick the ideas.
Relationships is a big one, isn't it?
Yeah, relationships is big. So, yeah.
So does it have to be, if we're talking about relationships, can it be with, say, me and, say, like my parents?
Yeah.
Does it have to be like a baby and my mum?
No, not necessarily. So what you would need to do is show like a mirror of like what's being shown here. So here it's about like in terms of relationships, it's about this mother, you know, learning how to be with this baby and be, you know, be a mother. So instead of that, you could maybe do maybe like a new couple, you know, a new relationship, you know, two people who have just started dating and maybe, you know, they're still trying to learn how to be with each other. And it's that same kind of idea of, you know, that start of a relationship and how it's really exciting, but scary, you know, because that's about her being scared, isn't it? About this new relationship and being scared. So maybe you could have like a new boyfriend and girlfriend and, you know, that they're scared, but they're also really excited and working out how to be together.
Do like with an estranged parent?
Yeah.
Like, or, you know, finding someone that you've spoken to or sibling.
Yeah. Yeah, an estranged parent would be a really good one. Yeah, and kind of going, yeah, scared, apprehensive that they could stuff it up again. And learning how to be a parent again. You know, that would be really interesting. So do you see what I mean? So you have to take the ideas and just kind of twist them a little bit and go, okay, well, how could I show that I understand what this story is doing? So let's talk about that then. So let's number these ideas so that we can say which ones we're appealing to. I'm going to call this 1 and this one 2 and this one, surprisingly, 3. And then, big shocker, this one's 4. Okay, so if I wanted to focus on relationships, the falling apart of one relationship and the birth of another, and identify with this idea of not so scared, like learning like how to be with somebody, getting good. Well, like we said, so let's go with 2. So we're doing relationships. A young couple who are learning how to be a couple together. It's scary, but also exciting. Relationships. Yeah. And to tie in that, like, the birth of one relationship and the death of another, maybe maybe they're on a date, right? So it's like the first date where they've actually decided that they're boyfriend and girlfriend. This isn't just dating anymore. They're a boyfriend and girlfriend now, right? You know that awkward stage where it like, well, I don't know, maybe you do, maybe you don't. Perfect. So like, you know, you might go out on a date with someone and like go on a couple of dates, and then you have that awkward like, so are we actually dating? Like, is this a thing? Are we dating other people? You know, maybe it's just after that, which would make sense because what does she like to do? She doesn't like to write the actual moment. She likes to write after the moment. So maybe it's just after they've decided we're official. We're boyfriend, girlfriend. We've just changed our Facebook statuses. Like, it's happening. Okay? I'm going to put that in. Just changed their Facebook statuses to in a relationship. Now they are out on a date. They are working out, like, do we hold hands? Do we not hold hands? Like, when we say hello to each other, do we kiss on the lips? Do we kiss on the cheek? You know, like, because this is all stuff that you do when you first are, you know, when you're first starting to date someone, you have to kind of work all this out. Like, what's the protocol? What are we doing? Do we high five? Like, is that too lame? Like, what do we do? Like, this is no, but seriously, that's the progress that you have to take because it's, you know, it's new, right? I've been married for like 7 years now, so like, that's well and truly over. Like, yeah. When we see each other, you're lucky if like we say hi. Well, usually it's like, the dog's just pooped in the house. Someone needs to deal with that, and it's not me. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Marriage is a beautiful thing. Working out, you know, silly things like, do we hold hands? Are we a PDA couple?
The answer is no.
Yeah. Or like, little kiss, move on. Like, no tongue. That's not okay. Nobody likes those people. Do we hold hands? Are we a PDA couple? Who pays for dinner? Because technically, it's not a date anymore. Like, we're dating. So, like, is he going to pay for every date? Well, that seems exorbitant, because what if we have dinner, like, a couple of times a week? That's a lot of dates to be paying for a week. Yeah, so, like, again, like, what's the protocol? Are we going halves? But that doesn't sound very, like, datey. Are we going to go one for one? Like, these are the kind of things that you need to work out when you start becoming a couple. So, like, I know, I'm good. Yeah. I've got it all. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so this is good. This is like this little young couple, right? But it ties in because it's that exciting but scary kind of time, which is definitely what she's going through with Jason. And then I was thinking, to tie it into the death of an old relationship, could we have someone's phone go off and it's an ex? Yeah? And there's that little friction of, what do we do? Like, and punch them? No. But it might be just like are you going to come pick up your stuff? Or something like that. Like maybe, the partner's, the person's left something at their house. Are you going to come pick up your DVDs? You know, it's not a lovey text. It's just you know, like we're finalising the end of this relationship and obviously the start of this new relationship, right? So let's say the girl gets a text from her ex asking, do you want any of your old DVDs? Right? I should really kind of like break this up a little bit because we're kind of like just plotting out ideas. Let's call this idea 1. She then, this creates slight friction between the new couple. Well, how could we, because remember we're, you know, in Kate Kennedy, the way that Kate Kennedy writes is show, don't tell. Don't tell her, like, so that she wouldn't have this conversation going, well, I'm not into it, you know, like, I'm not into him anymore. Are you sure? No, they wouldn't have that because she's not a shower. She's not a teller. So it would be something really simple. Maybe she, like, just deletes the what's name? You know how, like, you can, on your phone, you can, like, swipe left and delete? Like, you don't even have to open a message. You can just, like, swipe it and delete. Maybe she does that. And then that
just gets off the screen.
Yeah, to just kind of, like, not interested. And then, and that makes the partner happy because he's like, oh, good, it's about me. Does that make sense? Or you could, that she's like...
She looks at it and has to get, who's that?
Yeah, but remember we've got to represent what the Michelle relationship, the death of an old one and the start of a new. Hey! That's okay. That's all right. Yeah, you just leave that one there. That's okay. Go through it, check it, make it perfect, as good as it can be. Sorry, he's just doing a sec. So yeah.
Well, even with the start of with Jason, it was didn't the romantic bond come in after maybe a good day or something? She was like still.
No, she bonds with him straight away.
Okay, yeah.
She's like, and she dismisses as soon as Jason is born. She looks at Des and is like, "You're nothing. He's everything. You're nothing." So maybe we have her go, "Oh, what a loser," or something like that, and just deletes it. And that way the ex is Des and the new guy is the Jason, the new relationship. Does that make sense? She swipes left on the message and deletes with a mutter of, no, we'll tie it in with this. Useless.
Yeah.
Or actually, instead of having him say, do you want any of your old DVDs, let's have him say something like, how do you work the dishwasher? Or like something that's like really immature. Because then he really ties with Des.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah? Do you see what I'm doing there? Yeah? Okay. Yeah, how do you work the dishwasher? Because then he's like, so Des. Because Des would do that. He'd be like, how do you work the dishwasher? Like, after they've broken up, he'd still be like, so, have you paid my parking fine? Like, he'd be like that kind of guy that you're like, ugh. And then deletes it with a mutter of useless. And that way, it's the same quote that Michelle uses on Des and goes, useless. And I would end the story there. Because that's what these stories are, aren't they? They're just like a little snippet of time. They're not long periods of time. They're not writing about weeks or months. They're literally writing about like 24 hours, 48 hours. They're all like not even. It's like an afternoon.
How long are you reading?
About, I would say if you've got 90 minutes, probably about 1,200 words. But it's not that bad because remember, you've got 72 hours with the prompt. So you're like you've probably already written a draft. You're just coming in and spewing it back out. The best version of it that you can under the circumstances.
Do you know what it is? Because it was the same.
So that was a terrible face to pull on camera.
So you do it.
Never pull that on camera. Yeah, because no one will watch this other than you guys. Who cares? Actually, no, I've noticed that like people from other schools watch it.
What?
Yeah, which is kind of funny. Yeah. No, they're allowed to. It doesn't bother me. It's all learning. They're just kids. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So we're thinking we're going to move it to week 3. It's supposed to be second week back, but our concern is that we miss Monday and Thursday in the first week. And so for some people, they'll only see their Year 12 English teacher maybe once that week. And then other people will see them a lot more. And we're like, that's a bit dodgy. Why don't we push it an extra week? And that way everyone gets enough practice. So, yeah. So we thought that'd be kind of the fairest way to do it. So we're going to make it week 3. Newsflash.
Is it always going to be on a Monday because of the weekend, or is it just,
No, it'll probably be, do you mean the actual sack day?
Yeah.
Oh, it'll probably be Wednesday the following week. Wednesday or Thursday? Thursday, I think. Yeah, I think it'll be Wednesday or Thursday. We just have to confirm it with Miss Gift and make sure no one else has got sacks.
So it's 3 days.
Yeah, so you'll probably get them on the weekend and then on the Sunday, and then you'll have time to write. Hello, Stefan.
713.
Beautiful. Can you email it to me?
Yep.
Beautiful. Or actually, can you print it?
Yep. Sure.
That'd be great. Okay, so are we happy with that idea? Now, can you see what I was doing there? So the story, is different. It's a different story. But what I'm doing is aligning the messages and the characters and showing my understanding of the text through that. And the other things that I'm showing is through writing style, because I'm obviously starting in the aftermath of a big thing, the Facebook status change. I'm not showing the Facebook status change or the conversation of, so are we boyfriend, girlfriend? Because that would be the climax of a story. So it doesn't show the climax, shows the afterwards, which shows me you understand Kate Kennedy. I'm also using some of the things that that $5 family do, like useless, and taking the character of like an immature person, and the shifting of love from one character to another. Does that make sense? Yeah. So that's what you've got to do. What would I call it? I don't know. I mean, I could be obvious and title it useless, which would be fine. What would you title it? Thank you. Yeah, I usually kind of find an interesting word or a phrase. Dishwasher? Yeah. How to work the dishwasher? Yeah. How to work a dishwasher? Yeah. Yes, you are free. Enjoy your freedom until tomorrow when I see you.
Yes, I'm going to be there.
Yes, you are. There's never really freedom, though, is there?
Not really.
No, but we like to give you the illusion. That's nice. See ya!
We really got to bring back Year 11 English.
Why?
Illusion of freedom.
Oh, the illusion of freedom. Yeah, that's true. Okay. Do you want to do another idea with this same prompt? Or do you want to do another prompt? New prompt?
I'd written down just finding what things that you need.
Cool, let's do that. All right, pick another one. Give me a number.
6.
6.
Sure.
Footsteps muttering, the sound of fingers stirring through ceramic debris. A tightly constrained hiss of frustration and fury. Ooh. Yeah, shipwrecked is sad. Because, like, it's miserable for everyone. Yeah. It's the one with the wife with a acquired brain injury. Yeah, and the husband's looking after him. Yeah, the dolphin guy. Yeah, that is so sad.
He's just like, oh well, the dolphin said no, clean it up.
Yeah. Yeah, so sad. Alright, so this one is from Like a House on Fire. It's when our narrator, who we don't have a name for, we just know he is a dad, he drops the little nativity scene. Narrator drops the nativity scene that his wife has had since she was a child. Yeah, he feels really bad. Feels awful. And what else do we see in this? Footsteps muttering, the sounds of fingers stirring through ceramic debris, a tightly constrained hiss of frustration and fury. What else does he feel? We were just talking about this word. Starts with U.
Useless.
Yeah, he feels useless. Yeah. Good question. His wife's at the hospital. Yeah, yeah. He had one job, set up the Christmas tree, and he broke her nativity scene. Useless. Where is it? 78. Yeah. Yeah. Dad broke the nativity scene, Ben says, as soon as Claire gets home. What? How do you do that? You dropped it. Bloody hell. Give me a look. Footsteps, muttering, the sound of fingers stirring through ceramic debris. A tightly constrained hiss of frustration and fury. So the hiss of frustration and fury is not actually him, it's Claire. Yeah, the wife. Wife feels frustration and fury because she is doing everything to keep the family together, and her husband keeps screwing it up, doesn't he? He keeps screwing it up. You know, he wrecks his back, and now he's lying on the floor, and he's always whinging about stuff, and now she's got to work all the time because it hasn't healed in time, you know, because now they're not getting any work cover because he hasn't healed in time, because he won't rest enough, and now, you know, he keeps stuffing it up. Okay. But we know when he breaks it, he actually says how useless he feels. Where is it? Where does he break it? Oh, yeah. So he says, "Don't look," I say to the kids as I carry the box into the living room like it's a cardboard coffin. I've broken everything except the baby. And so, he tries to kind of soldier on, and then it gets to the end, and his little girl, Evie, says, "Here, Dad, lie down on the floor. I go to the spot I always do, like a beaten dog." You know, like he feels useless. Okay. So, what are the ideas or the themes in this?
Financial hardship.
Hardship. Both financial and physical hardship. That, you know, he has this injury where he has no control over, like, his healing or, like, you know.
Duration of relationships.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's also tightly contained, and it's all well inside as well, yeah.
But then that links to all of the other relationships where it's not encouraged.
Okay.
Expression, bottling up.
Bottling up feelings and you were saying something just before, I can't remember what you said. Bubbling feelings, bubbling below the surface. I guess the feeling of uselessness too, like feelings of uselessness. Because we certainly see that in other stories too, like Sleepers, you know the story Sleepers where he steals the sleepers? He feels useless, doesn't he? Like that's why he drinks so much and stuff, because he feels useless. Yeah, waiting she feels useless too, yeah, because she can't conceive. Well, she can't hold a conception. So she feels useless. So yeah, that feeling of uselessness is very kind of common in these stories.
Shipwreck as well.
Yeah, shipwrecked, he feels useless. Yeah, and Flexion as well. You know, Frank feels useless, and that's why he's so angry, because he feels like he can't do anything that he used to do anymore. All right. Anything else that we would want to comment on? There is hope at the end, yeah. Good. So if we wanted to kind of replicate this kind of story, it would be kind of good to kind of end on that kind of moment of hope. Yeah, just like this one does. All right. So you ready to come up with an idea? What do you want to focus on? I feel like this quote particularly is looking at this one, isn't it? Like this is key in this one. Like you could definitely look at some of the other ones as well, but this needs to be front and center. This is what this quote is all about this like bottled up feelings and stuff like that. Pardon? On partners, yeah, and how like there is always this kind of friction between the two of you. Okay, so where else would you find this deteriorating relationship, a bottling up of feelings, and below the surface it's kind of seething? Where else would you find that in relationships? Parenting? Yeah. Parenting creates a lot of stuff like that. When would you feel that most with a child?
As a child, probably when they're fighting, I guess. And parents are...
As in, like, parents are fighting with one another, or parents are fighting with the kid?
Yeah,
You could have.
Divorce.
Yeah, divorce, definitely. But I guess, are you bottling up feelings by them?
yeah,
If you're having a divorce, you're definitely not bottling up feelings anymore. You're launching them.
if you're a child and
They're bottling up feelings. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we could do that. That would be really good. Okay. So, bottling up feelings that bubble below the surface is our kind of idea that we're going to go with, and we're going to have child of a newly divorced couple, because then we're after the fact. Yeah? Because if we had the moment where, like, they sit down and they're like, who are you going to choose? We're getting a divorce, then that would be a climactic point, wouldn't it? So we want to be after a climax. So of a newly divorced couple. What situation can we put them in that would have this kind of like bubbling below the surface stuff going on, where you would hiss in frustration and that kind of thing?
For the child to be?
Yeah,
Okay.
that the child would feel this.
When would if you want to say it, like, if you're really frustrated, but you always look up to your parents.
You do.
Maybe if you're extremely frustrated, but maybe you're afraid to say something, or.
But why are you feeling frustrated at your parents? What are they? Yeah. Maybe this is the first drop off. Maybe this is the first drop off. So they've just got divorced, and this is the first time that they're doing the changing the guard, you know, where like one is getting picked up, you know, one, you know, you're going to stay at your dad's for the first time. And yeah, that maybe they're in the car on the way there or something. And maybe mum is getting a bit mouthy about dad and is like, oh, you know, I hope you packed an extra jumper because you know your dad never does any washing, you know, and being snippy. And you can imagine you're like, but that's my dad, don't bag my dad. That's so good, yeah. You know how the stone in the tummy? Yeah. Child is having the first drop off to dad's house. Mum is mouthing off about dad, and child feels frustrated and the stones in their tummy like Tyler. So what could bring us to the end of that story? So like they get in the car, mum's kind of like, oh, you know, blah blah blah, your dad, he'll probably want me to pick you up early too because, you know, he's got this new girlfriend, you know, like all this kind of like snippety snip snip. I don't know, I have some divorced friends, I know like how they roll. The things they bitch about. So what could happen?
I feel like siblings and maybe their relationship could get stronger.
As in that drives them towards their siblings, like unites them with their siblings.
If they're with them, then maybe rather than they can come together.
Ah, yeah. So they unite, yeah. The child, maybe they kind of like look at each other and they go, I understand what you're going through because I'm going through it too. Yeah, like we feel what each other's going through. Yeah, it's like whirlpool, yeah. Yeah, they unite, yeah. Whirlpool's the one where they do the family photo. Yeah. Looks at this, sis and bro. Both acknowledge. Do you know what? It's one of those ones that like some kids connect to, but most kids just like they just breeze through it. Yeah, it's really funny. You like 72 donuts? Yeah. See, I really like White Spirit, but nobody else seems to.
Oh,
I really like it. Oh, I know. I don't know why. I love it. I think it's really beautiful. I don't know. Yeah, I find Sleepers a bit boring because I'm just like, Ray, come on, mate. Like, get your shit together.
I find cross country quite creepy.
I like cross country because I'm like, that's pretty much everybody. Like, that's pretty much everyone. Like, after, like, you get dumped, you kind of go through this time where you're, like, really weird and stalk. Yeah. Everybody stalks. There's nothing weird about it. Everybody does it. If you say that you don't, you're a liar. We're on to you. You will. One day you will. You wait. And then you'll recall this conversation and be like, oh, they were right. They were right. I am a stalker.
It's a massive revelation.
Yeah. The child looks at their sister and both acknowledge their mutual feelings of how did it describe it? A tightly constrained hiss of frustration and fury by both going like that. By both
Something that goes around statement.
Yeah. So all the stuff that we're talking about like how it all links, that's the stuff that goes in your statement. You're like, okay, so I've taken the idea of like bottling up feelings that bubble below the surface, and I'm implying that, you know, in relationships. And so to examine a different type of relationship, I'm using the child and the divorced couple. The divorced couple obviously being the, you know, the narrator in this circumstance, the thing that's causing the frustration, and the child representing Claire, you know, the person who who feels a sense of frustration. Does that make sense? So you talk them through how you're putting it, and you'd also talk about how, like, because you can play on other stories as well. So you know how we used the stones in the tummy thing, like Tyler? Yeah, so you could say, I'm taking that from this and putting it in there, because we want you to understand that these all play into each other, that they have similar ideas and similar, you know, like they're exploring similar things. So, and same with this, like, you know, how we said the sister and bro thing, the connection, and you could say, you know, similarly to Whirlpool, where they unite in the face of that frustration. Exactly, that they unite when they need to, yeah. Yeah. Cool. This is great. And you could end the story there. That would be really good, to kind of end the story there, which makes sense because it gives that thing of hope that they're not alone. That even though, you know, like in a divorce you feel alone, they look over and their brother or sister is there and they're like, that's right, I'm not alone. I have you.
You know sometimes when you're waiting for something to be over,
yeah,
how everything just goes so slow.
Yeah. That could be, yeah, that they're looking at the clock.
I would more go for the traffic lights.
Yeah.
Because you're in the car driving over, you could let that just stop.
Yeah. Yeah, that they're in traffic. Yeah, and you could have, long sentences and then have, like, because she likes to do this, like, long sentence and then short, like, you know, so you could have, like, a big description and then go, stop, full stop, start, full stop, stop. You know, like you do in traffic, where it's like, stop, start, stop, stop, start, stop. That would be really cool. Cool. Happy with these two ideas? So you could write either one of these, and we'd be pretty wrapped. I would be. If you came up with either of these, concepts, I'd be wrapped to the back teeth. I love these. Cool. So now you've got two